What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse rants, no hate. Now, as much as I don't think this fight is such a good idea, we'll see. We'll see. I don't think it's such a good idea on Conor Ben's behalf. Um, and that's Conor Ben versus Chris Eubanks Jr. Because of, they agreed to a catch weight. Um, and basically, if Chris Eubanks Jr. is able to go in there and do what he does against Conor Ben, if he's able to, land them clean punches and get in there and do it, it could be bad for Conor. Now, it's yet to be seen. Conor might be able to handle it. Who knows? We'll see. I just don't think it was a good idea in terms of this guy being naturally way bigger than Conor Ben. Chris Eubanks Jr. has power. He can fight, and he might not be what his dad was. He doesn't have to be, okay? But this is a fight. For me, I feel like, this whole your dad fought my dad, they had a rivalry. You heard the things Chris Eubanks was saying about, his father saying he hates his dad and everything. Let me tell you something. If you look at that little smug smirk on his face, he was purposely trying to get under Conor Ben's skin, and guess what? It worked. Conor was aggravated. Everything he said, you kept seeing Conor shaking his head, frowning his face, and this guy, and right when he interrupted and say things, you saw how Chris Eubanks was so calm but sarcastic at the same time. So, I mean, yeah, I think a lot of people found the press conference entertaining, funny in that way, but we'll see what happens. I'm not going to ride the fight in a negative way. As far as I don't think this and this and this is going to happen. No, we'll see what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm just saying because of the size difference. People sleep on Chris Eubanks Jr., but that guy can really hurt Conor. Now we'll see if it plays out that way. Chris Eubanks is not his dad, and Conor's not his dad. What they had happened, and it's over with. And to try to keep this thing going is like, let's be real. This generation, most people don't even remember this generation. They don't even remember Conor Ben's dad, Nigel Ben, and Chris Eubanks. They don't even remember these guys. So they're like, what happened? And I know this because, again, where places I go in certain situations you're around and people they don't even know who these guys are. So it's like, oh, I know him. But his father used to fight too? Oh, okay. You got a little more casuals than you have actual boxing fans now. So, he told him, he told Chris Eubanks Jr. told Conor Ben, his dad's not going to be able to be there with him, but don't worry, I'll be a father figure to him. I'm going to school him. He was just pissing him off, and he knew it was working. You could see it. Like I said, Conor couldn't even hide it. Hopefully, let me just say this: it's a good fight. Whatever's supposed to happen is going to happen. Whatever that is, I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, nobody gets seriously hurt. But we'll see how it goes. I do say if Chris Eubanks win, he said it, and I do agree. People are going to say, "Oh, he was supposed to win." Conor's a smaller guy. If he loses, a lot of people don't like Conor either. They'll pretty much say Chris Eubanks Jr. was overrated. How you lose to this little guy? You understand what I mean? So, if he wins, he was supposed to win. If Chris wins, he was supposed to win. Conor's a small guy. If Conor wins, Chris Eubanks Jr. was overrated. It's no big deal. You understand what I mean? This is how people think. Now, I think that's bullshit. I think they're both good fighters. They don't get the credit that they deserve. And my thing is, too, now you see when I was talking about Roy, and y'all know whoever Roy fought, I always roll with Roy. But when I said it, Roy be tripping sometimes. Roy be saying some bullshit sometimes. And when he says something that I think is stupid or whatever, I'll speak. I don't sugarcoat anything. I don't walk on eggshells for nothing. If I was standing right in front of fucking Roy Jones' face, I'd tell him the same fucking anybody. Okay, same thing. I'm all man. I don't. Oh no, I just say it for the no. I said it. I meant it. That's why I said it, Roy. When Roy was talking, now you see, think about it. Roy was talking this bullshit about um Errol Spence not fighting the guy his size and he didn't prove anything against somebody. Okay, well wait a minute. How are you going to say that that's the reason you don't rate Errol Spence the way everybody else does because he hasn't proven anything against another solid guy? Okay, wait. Yet you take a guy in Chris Eubanks Jr. that you're training, and you think that this is a good idea, and in fact, you had a worse idea. Remember, Roy said he think Chris Eubanks Jr. versus Amir Khan would be a great fight. Think the people want to see it, or Kell Brook. Wait a minute. So you think your guy, who's a 160 fighter, 168 fighter, big enough to do that, is good against a 147 pounder? And why is this a good fight? Why? Oh, because if they fight over in Britain, they can fill out a stay. Bro, no. No, brother. No. That would have been suicide for Amir Khan or Kell Brook. Mostly Kell Brook. Why? We already know Amir Khan has no chin. As soon as Eubanks catch him flush, night. Kell Brook had a chin. But Kell Brook has had his face damaged by Triple G and Errol Spence. We seen him go down from a jab by Terrence Crawford, okay? Terrence Crawford is not a devastating puncher. What you think happens when he gets hit by Chris Eubanks? That would have been a massacre. And the fact is, if the more you try to stand and take, the more damage is being done to you. And you've already been damaged. You're already a shot fighter that was good enough to beat, like him beating Kell Brook beating Amir Khan. You guys can't possibly be stupid enough to think, oh, he turned the clock back and all of a sudden he's a prime Kell Brook all over again. No, he just had more left than Amir Khan. So that's the idea that Roy had. Remember, it's like, no, who the fuck wants to see Chris Eubanks Jr. fight little Kell Brook? Didn't you guys just sit there and say, oh man, he didn't have to go up and fight Triple G, but he dared to be great and all this shit, and you guys are, oh, but Floyd never went up to 160, all this stupid shit. Well, yeah, Floyd is naturally a smaller guy than Kell Brook also, okay? Kell Brook wasn't fighting at 130 fucking pounds either. So it's one of those things where people are saying stuff that makes no sense. They're just speaking out of their fanboyism and their hatred, but hopefully the fight's on. Since the fight's going to happen, hopefully it's a great fight. Win, lose, or draw, whatever happens, hopefully it's a good fight, and it's worth all of what's being said and done, because at the end of the day, it's not about just putting fights together just to put fights together to put asses in the seats, because if that happens and they're not satisfied with what they get, then you know what? Those same two fighters, when they get in the ring again, people are going to go, man, this guy, he's overrated. No, last time he fought, it wasn't a good fight. So hopefully they put on a good show. I'm not even going to get into what I think. It really doesn't even matter. What's going to happen is what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen, but I like Conor Benn as a fighter, and I like Chris Eubanks Jr. as a fighter, and I think both of those guys have been put through the ringer in terms of the way the fans crucify them and talk like they're just no good. And I feel like this is not going to prove anything for Chris Eubanks, to be honest with you. Now, if he goes in there and destroys Conor Benn, then that would get people to look at him, and at least some people will look and understand, you know what? He didn't have any trouble with Conor. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't think because Conor's smaller, like I'm saying he has nothing. But what I'm saying, if Chris Eubanks Jr. is able to go in there and do what he normally does, I mean, he's like, I'm not going to be 100, I'm going to be 60%. He's saying all these things to piss off Conor Benn. Conor, like, you already making excuses. Like, no, he's just trying to piss you off and get under your skin. He's saying, I don't even have to be 100% to beat this guy. You understand what I mean? So, the thing about it, if Chris Eubanks is the usual Chris Eubanks that we've been seeing, he should be able to really beat Conor, because Conor can fight, but the power difference, the size difference, when they put a rehydration clause into a fight, it can work against a fighter, and especially if it's a fighter that's much bigger than the weight that he's agreeing 2022, but we'll see how it goes. And I just think that between the two of them, I think the fighter who can keep a level head and go in there and employ their strategy will have the better chance of winning. I think that the advantage goes to Chris Eubanks Jr. from the gate, but we'll see how it goes. Conor might pull off the upset. Who knows? Chris guy has to be the favorite going into this fight. But we'll see how it happens, and like I said, hopefully it's a good fight. But this has nothing to do with Nigel, and it has nothing to do with Chris Sr. What happened with them was way back in the day, and neither guy should be walking around with the hatred or still feeling any kind of way about any of that. You get so deep into your feelings that you can't let go of something that happened decades ago. It's like, really, like, let go, man. These two guys, two different weight classes, and this is a fight that the British fans, should embrace. For boxers in general should embrace this, but they should embrace this fight because it's a fight that I really feel like that shouldn't happen. Really, there's no reason for it to happen. You can't get guys in the same weight class to fight so quickly, but you can get guys in two different weight classes to, fight, and it's like, okay. And the whole thing of trying to keep the Ben name alive and trying to keep the Eubank name alive, you guys are doing that. You guys are two different individuals. You're all two different individuals. You're not your dads. And, where do they go from here? It's yet to be seen. I doubt that Chris Eubanks is going to go back to this catch weight that they're, try to go below the weight that he normally fights at. There's no need to. And for Nigel, he needs to focus on going back to 147. If he loses, that doesn't warrant a fight with Ortiz or, with Butzenis or anybody in the elite and at 147. If Chris destroys, if he destroys Conor, then it's like, okay, he did what he was supposed to. If he has a tough time with him, people are not going to look and say, well, Conor was better than what we thought. Some people will, who understand boxing. But for the most part, him beating Conor is not going to put him into, like, all of a sudden now he's amongst the elite. No. But this is what I'm saying, like, either guy, man. So that, Chris is tying this into his father versus his father, see a legacy thing, but it really has nothing to do with that. So, at the end of the day, it's just a fight that shouldn't happen as far as I'm concerned, but being it is happening, hopefully we get the best from both and embrace the fight. Hopefully what we get, like I said, is worth it all. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Who y'all think gonna take this? Conor or Chris? You think it's gonna be a knockout? And what do you think about the whole storyline thing? I just don't see how, like, if my dad had a problem with somebody 20-something years ago, now I'm going to go after the son of that guy. Like, yeah, your father said this to my father. Your father did all. Like, tell me what y'all think about the whole situation between the two. Leave comments. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings heat out of people. And I will catch y'all on the next video.